Hey, it's Irina Pozan, and welcome back to the Career Cravings Podcast. This podcast has a simple mission. It's to help ambitious professionals like you build the career and life that you've been craving. Over the past 15 years, I've worked as an HR leader, designed hiring systems, led recruitment teams, and I've sat on the other side of the hiring table. I've seen what works in today's job market, what doesn't, and what separates those good candidates from the ones that actually land their dream roles. Now I'm bringing everything I've learned straight to you. Each episode is packed with actionable insights and tools to help you land your dream role sooner. Now let's dive in. Did you know that the most qualified candidate does not always get the job, but the one that does is able to show up confidently and articulate their value? So in today's episode, I will show you how to position yourself as the dream candidate that recruiters cannot resist. This is not just about applying for jobs. It's about stepping into the best version of yourself. So today we're going to cover why confidence is a secret weapon in today's job market. We're also going to cover a framework to step into your dream job identity. And we're going to cover real life stories and strategies that help you stand out in today's job market, where you're probably going up against hundreds and hundreds of other applicants. So if you have ever looked at a job description and thought, ooh, maybe I shouldn't apply. I don't check every single box. Or maybe you're walking into an interview and your chest is beating. You are so nervous and you're already second guessing whether or not you would be a good candidate. If so, then this episode is for you. Let's dive in. The very first step to landing your dream role is actually to create a clear vision. And this is a vision for your future self. Without a vision, it's so easy to fall into random strategies that don't work or to end up accepting a role that isn't aligned with exactly what you're looking for. So let me explain why this matters. So the very first step is always to start with clarity. This is going to ensure that your job search is specific, it's tailored to the job you actually want to land, and you have a clear North Star. Without this clear vision, it's really easy to fall into different strategies that don't work or have you end up in a role that you actually didn't want in the first place. I want you to start with clarity. First, I want you to get super clear on the type of role that you're going for. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to picture the title that you have on your LinkedIn or the projects that you're leading, maybe the recognition that you're receiving. And I want you to ask yourself, what is the impact that I want to make? What is the type of organization that I want to work for? And you can envision all of the details, including what does my commute look like? What am I wearing going into that role? What am I working on? What kind of team am I working with? What kind of projects am I leading? And this clarity and having a clear vision for the future or for your future self in this role is going to drive all of the decisions that you make associated with this. So if you know me well, or you've been following me for some time, you know that when we moved into this home, the backyard was a complete blank slate. There was nothing there, but that's not what I saw. So I saw a ton of potential. I walked in with already a super clear vision of this backyard oasis where we would sit by the fire and have deep, meaningful conversations. I envisioned the fireplace, the kitchen. I saw it all, but all that was there was literally blank slate, all grass. And your career is no different. Starting without a clear vision is just going to mean that you are reacting instead of creating something you're really looking to create. So I didn't see just a backyard. I saw a place where memories are going to be made. I saw a place where every single year I was going to host my son's birthday party. Even before we ever had a swimming pool, I envisioned my son learning to swim in our pool at home, having someone come in and show him how to do that. And I could see it so clearly before a single blueprint was drawn. And when we moved in, I didn't just start by calling pool companies. I mean, there were so many steps to take before that could happen. And the first step I actually took was hiring a backyard designer to help us map out that vision. So for what I'm envisioning, what direction should the pool face? What shape should it be? What would the view look like from the kitchen if you were standing there and cooking a meal? How would that space flow when people are over? And there are so many decisions to make along the way, but I had this very clear vision from the start. Your career is no different. Without that clear vision, you're going to just be reacting instead of creating. So if I just jumped into making 1,000 decisions about, yep, the pool should go here and this and that, without having that strategic view of where we should be going, then I would have made different decisions. And what it actually looked like was dividing this huge project, because it was turning nothing into an oasis. We divided it up into many different projects. First, we just did the kitchen. We didn't even focus on the pool at all. Then we did the pool. Later, we did the stone, and then we did the gardens around it. And all of that was aligned with this greater vision. So every detail was planned long before it became tangible. The designer drew it all out. We made those decisions on paper. We saw different options. What if it faced north? What if it faced south? What if it was round? What if it was modern? And before we knew it, that blank slate turned into the backyard of our dreams, which again, I am so looking forward to the spring when we can open it again. This is super applicable to your career, because without that driving vision of exactly what it's going to look like day in and day out, then you will also make decisions that are unclear. You need a vision before you can make the strategic steps to make it happen. And this is where I see so many candidates get it wrong. So as soon as you decide, maybe you had a bad day at work, or you decide this is it, I am going to land a new role, I am leaving this place, or maybe you got laid off, so you jump right in. Then they'll spend maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes dusting off their resume. They apply and apply and apply, and then start wondering why it's not working. So what ends up happening is 8 months later, it doesn't work. Now you've wasted all of this time, energy, and you feel more lost. You're starting to doubt yourself, and your confidence is feeling shaky. And the reason is because this is called the Frankenstein strategy. This is where you take one part from here, a tip from here, and you try to DIY and put it all together in one place, and it doesn't end up working together like a true strategy, and it doesn't get you the results that you're looking for. So did I begin by starting to call pool companies? No. I took a step back. I envisioned the end. I had the end in mind, and then I created every single step. So in this analogy, your resume would be perfectly aligned to the blueprint of the role that you are looking for, right? Then you're going to draw up your pitch to make sure it's perfectly aligned and captures attention at that level. And then you have a strategic approach to mastering those interviews and making sure that you're showing up the most aligned to the type of role that you want to attract. And this will save so much more time. It's like starting out with that clear vision from the start is going to save you months and months in your job search, especially when you are doing that properly. Here is how to start. I want you to spend 10 minutes today writing down exactly where you see yourself a year from now. So write down in the present tense that you've already achieved it. So I am in this job title at this company. I'm leading a team. I'm working on these projects that matter, and make sure that it is specific. You can even talk about what your daily routine looks like. For example, if I were to go back in time and do this for the backyard, and I actually did, I would write something in my journal that says, here we are, May 2026, and we are celebrating my son's birthday by the pool. We have all of his friends over. We're having such an incredible time. There's people sitting around a fire and having an amazing conversation. And you really lay it out, and then it becomes so clear the types of steps that you need to take to get there. And be specific. Describe your workspace, the projects you're leading, maybe the recognition you're getting. Imagine how it feels to feel excited to go to work, knowing that you're aligned with a role that is the one that you are looking for. Write down your why. Why is this meaningful to you? And the clarity isn't just motivational, it's really strategic. This is going to ensure every single step that you take from here on out is going to be aligned with attracting the exact type of role that you're looking for. And it is so powerful. Then next, of course, you're going to go to the resume, the pitch, the interview skills. That is all going to come, but it should stem from a place that is perfectly aligned with the end in mind, that end role that you are looking for. All right. So once you have done that, the second shift to becoming that candidate that is irresistible, that people want to hire, is making the decision that you are qualified and you are ready for that vision that you just set out for yourself. So sometimes we write down exactly what we want and it feels so scary. And our brain will say something like, no, make that more realistic. Make it more attainable. What if you're not able to land that VP role or that manager role or that role at a really sought after brand? And so many clients come to me feeling the exact same way. So one of my clients, Nikita, she came to me and she's like, listen, I was a business partner back home in my home country and I'm not qualified for that here. But I've been applying to entry-level roles for 6 months and no one's even called me back for that. And at this point, I will just take any job. And we looked at her profile, we looked at what she has done before, and we rewrote her resume to perfectly align with the type of roles that she was qualified for. And one of the first things I said is, you are ready to get a business partner role here. Of course, later we optimized her LinkedIn so that it attracts recruiters to her and she's able to enter the hidden job market. We also helped her tell her story with confidence. And all of these things worked together with her new resume. But it started with the belief that she actually can get that more senior role. And at that time, she wasn't sure. And she started applying to those more senior roles. And what ended up happening was she ended up landing a role, a more senior role than she could ever imagine within 3 weeks. This was so powerful because it just shows that when you make the decision that you are qualified and you are ready, you make decisions from that place. She showed up confident on that interview and she ended up landing the role super quickly. So I want you to make the decision that you are qualified, you are ready, and you are deserving for that role that you're looking for. I want you to be the type of person that when they make that decision, it is inevitable. You will do anything that you need to achieve that goal because you are the type of person that does hard things and that pursues your dream career. The truth is, the first step to becoming a sought-after candidate who gets hired in any market is first believing in your own value. Because if you don't believe it, no one else will. You are the one who is showing up to these interviews. You're delivering your pitch. You're talking about your career. You're talking about your stories. If you're not convinced that you are the best candidate for this role, they won't be either. So in Nikita's case, she decided she was ready for more. That is what she truly wanted. So my clients come to me when they have decided that what they have done so far, it isn't working. They want a new approach, but they also believe that it is possible for them as well. And it absolutely is, especially with the right strategy. So the first and biggest mistake that I see people make in their job search is believing that the issue that they face is external when it's often the mindset first, which then also impacts every other step from resume to the interviews. Most people looking for a role don't get stuck because they don't have the skills. It's because they doubt themselves and they don't have proven strategies that are getting them noticed. So I want you to know that the first hurdle isn't external, it's mindset. I learned very early in my career that it's not about having the perfect qualifications. It's about showing up with that clarity and confidence. So a decade ago, I applied for my dream role and it was an HR manager role at a top organization. And I didn't have the qualifications on paper and I didn't have the leadership experience yet. I wasn't finished my degree yet. I had gone to college, but I decided I will be the right candidate. And I showed up in that way. I walked into that interview clear about the value that I can bring that organization to solve the problems aligned with the role. And guess what? I got the job. So if you're thinking, okay, I'm probably getting stuck because I don't have the right qualifications, I want you to decide that you are ready. And I want you to look for examples of people that didn't think they were and then ended up crushing it in their roles. I ended up going into that role, and a year later, I was promoted, right? I didn't even think I was ready for that role. So here is an action item for you. I want you to reflect and to journal on this. What is the narrative that's holding you back? So for Nikita, she was saying, I'm new to the country. I have to start at entry level, even though I've worked 8 years in my career. I'm not ready for the role I really want. And then I want you to flip it. So in her case, I said, no, you've worked for 8 years. You are absolutely ready. And I think you're overqualified for the entry level roles because now you've worked for 8 years. Now, what if that narrative was true? Let's test it. The data will tell us everything. So instead of searching for 6 months without hearing any response at all, in 3 weeks, she actually had a job offer and then they wanted her to start right away. So things can change so much with a narrative flip. So I want you to ask yourself, what is the narrative holding you back? And then I want you to flip it. For example, if you're saying, I'm not qualified, then I want you to replace it with, well, here's why I know I can do amazing in that job if I got it. So when I went in for that HR manager interview, I was thinking, I don't think I'm qualified. Like, are they sure they want to interview me? And then I noticed how well the interview had gone because I had gone in preparing myself and I showed them that I had experience in that industry. Maybe I didn't have all of the qualifications that, were on the job description, but I had worked in that industry. I'm a very hard worker, and here's why I could figure it out. And I based my presentation, it was a panel interview, based on the value that I can bring. And I showed them what it would be like if they hired me and gave me a chance. And they did. Okay, so journal on that. All right, so now we're diving into the third shift, which is all about enjoying the journey while striving for more. I want to talk to you about a really important shift. I know that you probably have a really clear picture of what you want next, whether it's landing that dream role, getting a promotion, maybe it's taking the next step in your career, or you're already starting to work on like what type of role you want once you graduate. Amazing. So get focused on that. But while you do that, I want you to enjoy the present moment as well. We often get so focused on the end goal. Sometimes we forget to appreciate the actual moment that we're in right now. So I want you to know it's so incredible to be ambitious, set big goals, to dream big, but it's also important to enjoy the journey before you even get there and enjoying those small daily moments where you are growing, you're putting in the work, you're taking the action to get closer to that dream role or that next role. If right now you're like, yeah, Irina, that's easy for you to say. I am unemployed. It is hard to enjoy that. And I get you. Like 50% of my clients that join my programs are currently not working and they are looking to fast track their results because they're like, you know what? The average job market is 8 months to find a job right now. I don't have 8 months. I want to do that sooner. So just like you heard Nikita's story, if you're unemployed, what can you be grateful for today? So before even landing that role, which you absolutely will, what can you be grateful for today? Maybe it's the time freedom that you get to have right now. Like, yes, it's true that finances may be difficult right now, but at the same time, you have a lot of time. You can go and enjoy a walk in the middle of the daytime, which may or may not be possible for you once you are in a corporate 9-to-5 role working every single day. So what is it today that you can enjoy in your current state? Or maybe you have a job, but it's not one that you love. Maybe you've outgrown it. And that's how I felt before I landed that HR manager role. I just felt like I had outgrown my current role. I was bored. I needed more. So if you're in a role you don't love today, amazing. You've made the decision to get a role that's more aligned with what you want to do next. Incredible. I want you to find the joy in what you're doing now. So maybe it's getting even more confidence in the skills that you've built, right? Because you've done it maybe for some time. Or maybe this experience, maybe you're in a role Or maybe you're in a role right now that is completely burning you out. It's a toxic environment. You want to get out of it as soon as possible. I am with you and I get that. But while you're looking for work, try to enjoy the best part of what you have. There is always a silver lining, even in a difficult situation. And if you've listened to the last episodes, you know I've shared some really challenging circumstances that I've been in where I chose to see the silver lining. So maybe your job search brought you here to this podcast today. And maybe there was a thought that dropped in that helped you think differently. So while striving for more, I want you to enjoy the journey. And listen, this tip, I'm giving this to you because it is one of the hardest for me to learn. And I am someone who always plans. I live in the future, always. Like if you talk to me, I will tell you about what I'm doing 6 months from now, 5 months from now, next year. I'm someone who's always looking at the future. And I struggle with this. I live in the future. And when I want something, I want it to arrive. I don't have a ton of patience. When I set goals, I want them to arrive right away. And I need the results from what I'm working on. So I totally get that it's challenging and it may be challenging for you to do. So let me explain. My family and I were on our dream vacation in Hawaii not too long ago. We're literally in paradise, and it's a dream hotel that we've wanted to come back to for over a decade since our honeymoon. And what I had done was after this vacation, I had planned a big masterclass live event 2 weeks after we get home. So I had like 1,300 people signed up. I was so excited. I was wanting it to be perfect. I was planning every element of it. And there is so much that goes into a virtual live event that you may not think about if you're not hosting events, but it's things like newsletters and reminders and the content to make sure it adds a ton of value. And then there's the tech. The mic might not work. I've had events where people couldn't hear me. I've had the internet drop. So there's so many worries and things that go into it. And then afterwards, there's a ton of influx of people that are sending messages and they're always so kind. And I want to respond to everyone right away. But I am sitting in the beach in Maui, a trip that I've waited for a decade. And I'm thinking about what's happening 2 weeks into the future, which means I'm not enjoying the present moment. I'm there with my family. We flew my mom in and surprised her because this would be a dream trip for her as well. I'm there with my husband, with my son, and I'm thinking about my to-do list of all the things I need to do before 2 weeks from now. So this is something that I'm personally always working on. And this is a challenge for you to think about the present, enjoying the present. What's the silver lining? What do you have today that you may not have when you get your next role? And then I want you to enjoy the process. And the reason is that energy, when you show up in an interview with the energy that you are enjoying where you're at, that is so much more attractive. That is so much more hireable than the person that you can tell is trying desperately to run from something they don't want anymore, whether it's being unemployed or at a company they don't like, or maybe it's a boss they hate. That is not the energy that will get you hired. So this moment in Hawaii, it just made me realize how important it is to enjoy the journey, each and every stage. And I know that it can be so annoying to be waiting. So what will you do with your time while you wait for your goals to show up, for that dream career to show up? What will you do? You're going to be taking action that's aligned with the future version of yourself. And while you wait, what do you want to do before that dream role shows up? So often when we're in a new role, the first 3 months or so, we are so focused on that new role, right? We want to stay late. We want to show how amazing we are. We want to make the best first impression, right? We want to map out our first 90 days in the role, which is amazing. But also that becomes a really busy time in our life. So maybe there's something you want to do before that time comes. Do you want to be applying daily thinking, I hate this. This is dreadful. I'm getting so many rejections. This is the worst. Or do you want to enjoy the process of now? You know, this might be the last application you send. How do you want to do it? You can make it fun. You can go and do it maybe at 8 a.m. at a Starbucks right before you start your current role, at where you're enjoying the process, right? You're making it a little bit more fun. You're tying it to something you love. You're fitting it into a routine in a way that makes sense instead of, let's say, coming home from work late at night. You're exhausted. You hate your job. And then you're hitting apply on these very annoying systems, right? And then you're getting an auto reject email. These are very different experiences. So what do you want to do while you wait for your dream role to appear? Take a moment to appreciate this moment right now. Feel grateful that you are taking action to pursue your dreams so that you can attract the role that you want, and you can show up consistently, and you can show up with that confident energy to those interviews, which will get you hired. If you remember one thing from today, I want you to know you are capable, you are ready, and the world is waiting for you to actually step into that full potential. You just have to decide. And becoming that candidate is not about having the perfect profile, the perfect resume, the perfect education, ticking every box on a job description. Trust that with each step, you're becoming the best version of yourself that will attract the roles that you desire. So embrace the journey, enjoy the process, and remember that your dream career is waiting for you to show up, and the time is now. So if you're ready to land your dream role, amazing. I am so excited to see that. I want you to decide that your confidence will attract opportunities. I have a free resource for you in the show notes to my free masterclass. And inside, I walk you through resume tips, interview tips, and really everything you need to land your next role as soon as possible. The link is in the show notes, and there's actually 2 links, one specifically for HR professionals and the other for all corporate professionals looking to fast track their search. So I will see you in the next episode. Hey, before you go, if you've enjoyed listening to today's show, I would love your support. Please take a moment to leave a review anywhere where you listen to podcasts. And here's the exciting part. I'm running a special contest and giving away a one-on-one session with yours truly. All you have to do is leave a review, take a screenshot, and send it to me in my DMs. All of my contact info is in the show notes. I appreciate you so much, and I cannot wait to build the career and life that you've been craving together. See you next week.